I watched 10 movies last month. Some were rewatches, some were brand new theater releases, but without further ado, here is every movie I watched in June. There will be no spoilers in this video. First movie I watched was Constantine, which starred Keanu Reeves as a demon hunter among what was pretty honestly a stacked cast. However, despite such a talented cast, I thought that the movie spread its talent too thin and the plot wasn't exactly fleshed out enough. I thought a lot of very talented actors had super small roles, and that was one of my main gripes with the film. It also came out in the early 2000s, and you can definitely tell with the CGI it is not very good, especially compared to today's standards. Going back to the plot, I also thought that it revealed the main bad guy a little too late into the movie, and it really, to get the whole picture of the movie, it only came into clear view real late into the movie. There have been talks about a Constantine 2 coming out in like 2026, 2027. And I mean, I don't even know if Constantine 1 was a good movie. It was enjoyable, I guess. I love Keanu Reeves. I'm a big fan. So I mean, if he's in the second one, I'll watch it. But this movie was just okay to me. The second movie I watched was Spike Lee's BlacKkKlansman. This is a rewatch. I watched it when it first came out in theaters back, 2018, I believe. I mean, it's still such a good movie. John David Washington and Adam Driver are just awesome in this. I actually just found out after this watch of BlacKkKlansman that John David Washington, the main character, Ron Stallworth, the black version, is Denzel Washington's son. That's insane to me. And I mean, despite the Nepo baby allegations there, he did a great job in this movie. It's still super topical and relevant to, today's political climate landscape or whatever, 7-8 years later. So yeah, this is definitely one of Spike Lee's best. Next movie I watched in June was Friendship. It's a new movie from A24 that came out in theaters. It stars Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson. My main takeaway was, what even was that? And it's from A24. It's produced by that studio production company or whatever. So it was going to be a weird movie going into it. But this was just so bizarre. I mean, Tim Robinson is hilarious. They let him be him. He kind of just played himself, I felt like. And he was hilarious, so I was laughing in that theater, but it was just such a weird watch and not one that I'd necessarily recommend to anyone. Next movie I watched was John Wick 3, another rewatch. I saw this one in theaters. This was in preparation for Ballerina because I knew it was set in between John Wick 3 and John Wick 4, so I just wanted a little refresher. So I watched John Wick 3, and it's just as good as it was when it came out 5-6 years ago. Halle Berry, Keanu Reeves. I mean, Keanu's the star of the show. And we have Boban Marjanovic. Shout out to all my Hoopers out there. But yeah, Keanu's great. John Wick is one of my favorite film franchises, if not my favorite. So, good to just rewatch, catch up. The next movie I watched was Ballerina. Now, being perfectly honest, this was definitely a bit of a disappointment for me, as it was one of my most anticipated new releases coming out this year. There's still some great action, like every John Wick film. Keanu's awesome. Some of the fights are awesome. But to me, just Ana de Armas isn't super believable in this specific role. Nonetheless, the vibes and the cinematography are still great. It feels like a John Wick film, which is a great thing. But I just had some issues with the plot, specifically, the main villain, I guess, or organization. It came into the picture a little too late for me, and it was not explained enough. I'm no spoilers in this video, but it's just like, what's the relationship with the High Table? If this takes place in between 3 and 4, how is that meshing up there? And also, to be honest, there was just enough Keanu Reeves in this film for the trailer to not be a complete scam and lie. It took a while for John Wick, the Baba Yaga himself, to come into the picture. But we got enough of it for me not to call out the trailer on completely scamming the fans. Also, shout out, this was Lance Reddick's last ever filming. They filmed it back in 2023, right before he passed. Shout out to a legend on one of my favorite TV shows of all time, The Wire. A very talented actor, and it was sad to see him, but it was great to see his last ever film. The next movie I watched was Jordan Peele's third film, Nope. I had not seen before, so this is my first time watching it. Daniel Kaluuya and Jordan Peele kill it again, and I was also very impressed with Keke Palmer here, who was in a much more serious role than we're accustomed, or at least I'm accustomed to seeing her in, more comedy, and this was actually a thriller, a much more serious role. I thought she acted her butt off. specifically in that final act that was super insane. Also, in full transparency here, I was a little confused with the plot of the movie after watching. I went on Reddit to find out, and there was a specific thread that really clarified a lot of the deeper meanings behind the writing. And, I knew Jordan Peele wasn't making a surface level film. So once I, got to deeper meanings behind some of the writing choices and character motives, that cleared it up a lot for me. However, I will still say that I believe this is the weakest of Jordan Peele's 3 films so far. Get Out is one of my favorite films of all time, and Us is great. And this was a good film too, but just not up to the level of those previous 2 movies. Nonetheless, it still was a very good movie, and I'm excited to see his new movie coming out in September, Him, which looks crazy. The next movie I watched was 28 Years Later, another one of my most anticipated films to come out this year. I actually saw 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later earlier this year in preparation for this. I knew it was coming out. Funny story, everyone knows nowadays if a movie starts at 5, it's starting at 5:30. And I'm always on time, even though I know I'm going to have to sit through 30 minutes of commercials and trailers or whatever. But, going with some friends, and we were running 2 minutes late. 2 minutes late because we decided, get some popcorn too, whatever. And I had said in the car when I knew we were running late, what if this is the first time a movie starts on time, right on time? And what do you know? We walk in at 5:05 and the movie had started. We missed the opening scene with the flashback, but it was just, come on. But regardless, very good watch. Really liked this movie. Cinematography was awesome. One of the most emotional scenes this year. With Ralph Fiennes and Memento Mori. No spoilers, but just a phenomenal scene right there. Additionally, I wanted to see more Aaron Taylor Johnson. I know there's another movie coming out, The Bone Temple, which hopefully we'll get a lot more of him because I love him. He's a great actor. I will say also the Cillian Murphy cameo featured in the trailer was a ripoff, unlike the Keanu Reeves John Wick and Ballerina. It's difficult for me to rank this against the first one. It's definitely better than 28 Weeks Later, but Danny Boyle returned to direct this one as he did with 28 Days. So it's difficult for me to stack those up against each other. However, I know, like I said earlier, there's another sequel coming out to this Bone Temple, which I'm super excited for. I really like how this one ended, even though it was strange, and how it built up to the next movie, which is, and apparently they filmed it both at the same time. So we're getting it pretty soon in 2026, which is awesome. The next movie I saw was Materialists, starring Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal. I didn't know he was still acting. I haven't seen him in a movie in forever. No, but seriously, that dude has no free time. He's in literally 3 movies coming out in the span of a month, with Materialists, Eddington, and Fantastic Four. It's actually insane. He needs to chill out. But this movie I'm conflicted about, honestly, because I thought the way it was shot and the cinematography were excellent. The camera work was phenomenal, and the acting was solid. I haven't been the biggest Dakota Johnson fan in the past, but I thought she did a good job with this. I like Chris Evans, even though most of what he does is, garbage or Marvel, which I'm a fan of. And then Pedro Pascal, he's good, but, chill out, bro. But the main plot points here confused me in terms of the message it was delivering. I didn't quite understand the message of the movie or quite agree with it. I think I'm coming around to it now, what they were trying to say, but I don't think they were very clear on it. I just had some issues with the plot at times. But I did enjoy seeing the movie. I thought it was good. It wasn't really a rom-com. There wasn't any comedy really, but definitely a pretty good watch. I enjoyed it. Next up, we actually do have a rom-com. I watched Crazy Stupid Love, starring my guy Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone and Steve Carell. And Steve Carell's so great, man. He just plays Michael Scott in every role he's in, which is awesome. But this movie was great. I really enjoyed it. The twist is good. I'll just say Ryan Gosling, I really like the way he acted in this movie. And I just enjoyed this movie a lot. It was a good time, a rom-com, but one that was well made. And finally, the last movie I saw in June was F1, the best movie I saw in June. This is one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. It's definitely going to be up there when I make my ranking video at the end of the year. But man, this was awesome. I loved Brad Pitt. I watched everything he's in. I love Damson Idris. Snowfall is one of my favorite shows of all time. And Javier Bardem, great in this also. He's a great actor, very talented. I watched this movie in IMAX, as I recommend everyone to do so. The cinematography was awesome. It's the most exhilarating movie I've seen in a while, especially the theater experience. This is what I felt like watching the movie, or this is what I was doing, honestly. But yeah, man, it was just, I don't even like Formula One or whatever. I'm not into it. I guess, you know, I don't dislike it, but it was just sick, bro. This movie, and I've heard people say it's very formulaic, which I can understand, but this was just a great watch. I don't care what anyone says, you know, if you're on the edge of your seat the entire time, the movie did its job. I left the theater thinking, you know, that was one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. So that speaks for itself. I highly recommend F1. It was one of my most anticipated watches this year. You know, the trailer has been out for freaking forever. But yeah, awesome movie. But yeah, those were the 10 movies I watched this past June. I was busy. I didn't get to watch as many as I would have liked. You know, we had the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals. I was watching a show as well. So 10 movies, you know, I hope to get that number up for the next installment in this series. But definitely some good movies in here. A good mix of rewatches, older movies that I hadn't seen before, and, you know, new theatrical releases. So definitely a good variety there. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of these movies, if you have seen some of them, or what movies I should have checked out that came out in theaters. It's much appreciated. Definitely drop a like and subscribe if you liked it. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.
I just wanna ball, mama, I just want it all. I don't care about the law.